What's going on, everybody? It's Matt, aka the Lumberjack Landlord, and for segment number 3, we still have Mike Zuber because otherwise it wouldn't be segment number 3. So, Mike, good to have you here. Super excited to talk about this topic because we had talked about always our approach is, hey, how can we help people? How can we make sure people are having fun going through this process? And one of the things that you and I talked about was, hey, are people getting discouraged? Are they getting run down because they wrote 250 deals in a year and got zero? And right. I mean, talk to me about, even you, seasoned veteran, how you felt about the last year and what that's looked like for the work that you put in and what your students are experiencing.
Yeah, I guess there's a couple of things. I'm glad we're talking about this because too much of social media is the flash and dash, right? The sizzle. It's not the steak, right? It's not like real life. And I've seen too many people. I've been helping people for 10 years. I've been doing this for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And I see too many people come into real estate or real estate investing or money or investing on a sugar high. They're willing to commit 30, 60, 90 days, and then they're all kinds of disappointed when nothing happens.
Right.
And I just want you to know it's not how you do real estate investing, right? Real estate investing is something that, again, I keep telling people, I don't know why people don't listen, but I looked at my market every day for 20 years. I may have missed 30 days in 20 years.
That's right.
Right. And it doesn't take long. It's a tight criteria. You have your alerts, all of this stuff, but your market is always changing, always learning. And the other things I want people to hear is last year was the hardest year in my entire career.
Yeah.
I wrote a book called One Rental at a Time where I bought every deal off the MLS except for 2. And last year, as Matt kind of introduced, I wrote 250 offers on the MLS and got 0. And for most people, the idea of writing 250 others is unfathomable. So maybe for you, it's 50 or maybe it's 25, whatever it is. But whatever your number is to get 0, some of you would go, it's not worth it. I'm going to go somewhere else.
Right.
And what I just want to tell you is last year was the perfect storm for having no inventory and crazy demand. I've been doing this 20 years. It will likely never happen again in your or my lifetime.
That's right.
Right. We basically told owners, don't go outside. Yeah. So guess what? They didn't put a for sale sign in their yard. We told owners your jobs are at risk. So they didn't buy a bigger house. Right. Guess what? Then builders, oh, by the way, in the beginning, don't build anything because nobody can come look at your shit. And then, oh, by the way, start building because people want it, but everything costs 100% more, like freaking lumber and windows and appliances. Inflation is here, folks. These freaking government's lying to you.
Yes.
Right? So it's not there. And then, oh, by the way, interest rates, and then the rules change in lending and this, that, the other thing. Last year was a year that I hope to never repeat, kind of like 2010. I hope 2010 never happens again. Agreed. For entirely different reasons, but it's an outlier. It's, on a bell curve, it's that, that 2 deviations away from the mean. Yeah, they do happen, but they happen once every 20 years. That was 2020. It's already changing in 2021. Start writing offers, do the work, good or great deals. I think it breaks in your favor no later than July 1st, just because I'm saying summer and I'm picking the middle of the summer. Nothing special about Q3 starting. It's just the summer. And again, if you're in the market like we are, I can already tell you it's changing already.
It is. Yeah. But
you need to look.
If you're a public official and you like to hold my hand through the local Home Depot, I will point out to you where inflation is. Yeah. I'll point it out to you, and I can do it in any aisle. There's not an aisle in there that I can't point to and go, that was cheaper. That was cheaper. That was cheaper. Hey, Mike. So for me, I don't want people getting discouraged. I totally agree with you. We got to put in the time. We got to put in the homework. We got to do make the effort, do the math. All of those things have to be happening right now because your moment of opportunity is right around the bend.
Oh, it's like right there.
It's like right there.
Right there.
It's right there. It's right around the bend. And people are going to miss it, or they're not going to be prepared and they're going to write a crap deal. Like, don't do that. Don't have fear of missing out and write a bad deal, because I got news for you. Write a bad deal anytime you want.
You could do that today.
Yeah, exactly. Why wait to write a bad deal? Do it right now. Write a bad deal now. And so with that being the case, doing your homework, getting things in line, understanding what things are costing and where the market's going, there's not really been that much of a shift even though the rate's up, basically at least 1 point, if not 1.25. And it's because of that elasticity that we're talking about. But people have to do the homework, and inflation is absolutely real. It's absolutely real. And when I'm looking at it, deck projects costing me 5x, 4x what they did. I wish I could tell you I was paying my guys that much more. I'm paying them more than I did a year ago, but I'm not. The major component used to be like 50% of material, 50% of labor. That was your cost for any project.
Yeah.
And now in some cases it's 70-30 or 65-35, right?
Oh, it's far more 70-30 these days. I just got a 65 foot fence quote. I mean, we're talking 2x4s and pickets.
Yeah.
Right. We're not talking like pressure treated or anything. Maybe I think the 4x4s were probably pressure treated, but
yeah, because they're going around.
It was 3x.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, can we use the old fence? I'm like, how many pickets can we save off the old fence? Seriously, I said, how many of those could we save? Because they're apparently made out of gold.
Yep. Hey, Mike, drive down to Fresno and start picking them off with your own crowbar.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I'll come pick them up.
Yes.
I'll take the nails out.
It didn't used to be worth my time. Now it is.
Now it's worth
Lumber's that much more expensive. But we were just doing a quick, tiny little project for wiring. And so I'm obviously, I know all this stuff from the trades, but 12-2 wiring, it's a yellow spool. If you walk into Home Depot, you'll find it. That roll back in April, May last year, that roll would run you right around $57, right around that. When we went to go buy this roll, I literally said, and I literally had to ask for help. I was like, is this really a roll of 12? Is this like an expanded roll of 12 to it's like 500 and not 250? Like, no, it's a 250 roll. It was 119, Mike. $119, but inflation's not here. The price of that wire spool has more than doubled. It's more than doubled. More than doubled. That's insanity. There's nothing materially different. And the funny thing for us is that I don't know how quickly that jumped, because we usually buy it like half a pallet at a time and then work off that pallet.
Right.
So I don't know, but this was like a new one. And like, I had to yell at one of my guys and I was like, I know we have a roll of this stuff somewhere in inventory. I know we do. I cannot believe we just paid $120 for 12-2. I was like absolutely apoplectic. I was going mental. I was absolutely mental. I was like,
do we really need to do this?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, inflation's so high, I'm now paying for paint stirrers. Like, I mean, what the hell? So yeah, I think that people shouldn't get discouraged. Recognize that you've got to do the work. You've got to do the math. You've got to do the research, because your opportunity will hit. It will hit, because a lot of people are saying, well, but it's not going to hit in that range. Here's where it will hit in that range. You will find more inventory. You will absolutely find people that are ready to sell, that they're finally ready to move on up, or they're ready to move on into a retirement community or something like that, because not a lot of that was happening last year because people didn't want to be jailed. Like our grandparents decided to move into one, and they said, we're putting it off as long as we can because we know when we walk in there, we're on lockdown. We can't leave. We're done for months. I mean, literally it was like a prison sentence, and they didn't want that freedom taken away. And I get that. So that move up is going to happen. But also, Mike, guys like you and me, we're going to make our inventory available on single family and smaller stuff, because we're going to go buy a distressed asset that's a 15 or a 20, right?
Every time. Yeah.
Yep.
Real estate moves in cycles. It's not the same cycle. That's what people don't get, right? Housing has a cycle, multifamily has a cycle, retail has a cycle, office, and it's not the same cycle. If you pay attention, you do the work, you can really dance through raindrops and make a lot of money.
A ton. And Mike, and when I say a ton, and when you say a ton is different to everybody. But what if a ton is just that one house or that second one? What if it's just that number for you? That's the one you're going to fondly look back of 10 years from now, like I do with my portfolio. I look back at my portfolio and I saw 5 deals that I was like, I cannot believe that ever traded for that ever sold for that. Can't believe it. And people are going to put themselves in that 10-year position where 10 years from now, they're going to look at it and say, wow, can you believe what that thing is worth now? Can you believe what my rents are now?
Yeah. Everything I bought 10 years ago, man, I wish I could buy more.
If you bought something 10 years ago when it's worth less, there was a chemical spill.
Something bad happened.
I mean, honest to goodness. So,
Yeah.
Mike, I really appreciate the time. Where can everybody find you, my man?
Go ahead and look up One Rental at a Time. It should be pretty easy to find on YouTube, Amazon, Audible, Instagram.
Awesome. And like I said, One Rental at a Time, I bought the book. It didn't help me in my first 64, but I know it will help me in my next 64. And so for me, I still wrote the 5-star review. So give me a break. Write the guy a 5-star review.
Thank
the
you.
book's that good. Honest to God, you people.
I appreciate that.
I tell you, sometimes people just get me, Mike. So, Mike, thanks so much for the time. Have an awesome week, and we'll connect on Tuesday.
You got it, brother. Take care.
Thanks, Mike. Take care.
Mhm.